Wait for it to start. There we go. All right, welcome everybody. Appreciate y'all joining. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk what's called about population pyramids. And they're kind of interesting to look at and to be able to try to decipher why things happen and the way they are. So just so you know, this lesson is being recorded for learning purposes. As we are going through the lesson, here's the expectations real quick, right? Follow along with the Nearpod lesson, use chat tools respectfully and appropriately, and then also respond to questions and instructions the first time. Okay, before I go into the objective and what we're going to do, let me just jump into the course real quick. So remember, on the class announcements, I always post the video right to there. Have that there. The calendar here. Remember, we have live class every Monday. We're actually not going to have it that Monday. Let me delete it right now. So we'll have live classes every Monday. Whatever I do here, your exit ticket or assignment, whatever, is signed right here. So we actually have two different things we got to do this week. And then I will slowly put these in. Remember, we have Thanksgiving break coming up. Live classes here. Then we'll have winter break. We come back and it's the end of the block. And that's kind of where we're at. So if you hit content, we are now in unit 3 right now. And unit 3, I'll post the video here. This is the video from last block. The Nearpod lesson, if you want to follow along with it by yourself, you can do that. The lesson 3 assignment, which I'll go over today in class. And then also, if you can believe this, we have 6 units. So we have like a mid-course, basically, reflection that I have you do, okay? So basically, this is, you just need to write 100 words or more about what you've learned in the past 3 units. Okay, so pretty easy, but it's worth quite a few points. So you probably want to do it because you don't want your grade to go down. Okay. All right. So let's jump back to the Nearpod real quick. So this is what you're going to do. We're going to be analyzing, learning about population pyramids, analyzing them. So given a population pyramid, students will look at the population pyramid, write the total, like find the total population, go to the linked website and find 2 population data points, okay? Then you're going to find out which of those 2 data points is bigger. It depends. So they're broken up, like population pyramids are broken up in regards to age and gender. And then given questions, students will state like their opinion on their prior knowledge that we have as we're kind of going through this class, and to kind of consider why that might be the case, right? So let's go through and we're going to look at population pyramids and how they're all set up and how these things work, okay? So you have like your X and Y axis, okay? On the X axis here, we have ages. And this is where you find the ages. And so usually they subgroup them about every 4 to 5 years. So we have 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14 on this one, all the way up to 100 plus. So these would be the ages of the people. Then on the y-axis, they have the percentage of the population. So we have here, this is kind of our middle ground here with 0. And then it splits out in each ways and has the actual percentage written off to the side here. And it's splitting off into 2 ways of gender. So we have males on one side and females on another. And then it also gives like the total population. So for example, this one was taken from the 2017 census. So at that point in time, there were 7.5 billion people in the world. And as you can see, the majority of the people that were living in the world were younger, right? If you see all these little categories, we do some thinking. Like in the 0 to 4, we have a lot of babies being born, right? And so maybe what's a question that we have here is maybe you wonder why this is, kind of trends down. Why do you think that would trend down to make like a pyramid? Any thoughts? Put that in the chat real quick. What would your thoughts be of why it kind of goes up to a point at the top there and makes a pyramid? All right. So somebody said because people rarely get that old. Yeah. All right. So we have here, if you look at the older generations, you have approximately hardly any percent of the population, right, that are 100 plus. If you get to be 100 plus, I don't know if you win the lottery, but I mean, I guess you live old, right? Even seeing here that newborn babies, they're born and a lot are acceptable to death at that point in time too, right? And so it slowly kind of goes right here, okay? So there's some things to kind of consider. If you look right here, it looks like in the 25 to 29-year-old range, there's quite a few people right there. And you think, I think of that why? Like, why were people having more babies at that time, right? So there's things to kind of consider. As you look at different age brackets and you look at wars, you'll see what war does on a population, right? So that's what population pyramids are used for, is for analyzing those certain things. Okay, so what you're going to do, I'm going to model for you what you're going to be doing, something similar to what you're going to be doing on your assignment here, okay? So you're going to have a question. It's going to ask, what's the total population, okay? So can you guys see where the total population is on this? Okay, so we look right here. This is a population of the world in 2017 that we're looking at, so 7.5 billion, okay? So if I were to ask that question, that's my answer. That would be the population would be 17.5, whatever that number is, billion. Okay, so just so I know everybody understands, okay, why don't you go and take your tool on the Nearpod, if you're on the Nearpod, and circle where that would be, where you find it. So if I were to do this right here, I would just circle right here, knowing that this is where the population is found. So I want everybody to get a good score on this. So this is where you'd find the population, right? It's not on any of these other graphs. It's just right here. Easy peasy, right? Okay. All right, next question. So this one actually has you go to a website here, okay? So what I'm going to do is it's going to say, go to a website. It's populationpyramid.net. It'll give you that in the quiz. And basically, what is the number of total females between the age of 85 and 89? So if I were to go to populationpyramid.net, and let's go to the world. So this is updated now. This is in 2019. And so if I were to look at how many from 80, this one looks like it's broken down a little bit different, from 85 to 89. So I'm going to scroll up here and see how this kind of goes, and it gives me actual numbers. So it looks like there's 25 million, almost 26 million women that are from the age of 85 to 89. Okay. And then we look at the men, on the other hand, there's only about 15.5 million. So this is kind of interesting as we're looking here at this, that slowly moving up, so let's look at the 35 to 39 age bracket. Right now there's 270 million men and 262 million women. And then it goes up and it gets closer. And then it's about the same. It's about the same. And then look what happens. Women overtake men in living longer. Okay. So that tells you something right there, doesn't it? Right? So what does that tell you about, I guess, the gender discrepancy of how people live that are old, right? But we're going to go over that in a second. Okay. So what you do have to do, take the female, take the male population, like I showed you on there. And then, wait, what is this doing here? Oh, this is so I could show you, go exactly to the website. But for example, right, if we were to go here, we could probably fill this in just, even though the numbers aren't directly right? But according to the data taken from the population period of the world, there are blank females, 85 to 89 range, and how many males? So we know there's a trend going that females live longer than males, okay? So what I can do is I know that I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to put that in there. Okay. And then that will give me kind of my answer. So on question number 4, it's going to talk about, according to the numbers you found on questions 2 and 3, which gender makes up more of the population from 85 to 89? Why don't you guys put that in the chat? So somebody said that guys aren't here for a long time. They're just here to have a good time. All right, B, yeah. So females, right? So we can see that females, we have an older generation of females than there are males, okay? According to this population pyramid. Okay. Oh, I didn't realize I had one of these. So you could fill this in if you're on the Nearpod. It's male or female. Okay. So now this is where you need to, we see the data, right? We have this graph showing these certain kind of things. Now we got to say, well, why? We got to hypothesize why this is happening, okay? So according to the population pyramid of the world, one gender has a higher percentage of the population from 0 to 45 than from 46 to 100 plus, okay? So the other gender has a higher population, or other percentage of the population. Explain what gender has a higher percentage of the population in their younger years and theorize why it changes to the other when they get older. Okay. So there could be a lot of different things. So why don't you put your thoughts on here? And as we kind of looked at, I already kind of went into that. So from 0 to 45, there are actually more men overall in the world, or more males born, biological males. But once you get to the age of 45 and above, more females live to be longer. Why would that be? Right? All right. So more males are born, but females live longer. Yep, that's a good explanation of it. But why? Why would females live longer? Okay. Yep, they do live longer. I mean, that's what the data shows, right? But why? Why would that be the case? So there are a lot of young men, but males take over. But females take over because men are super limited. Okay, yeah. So you could say this, that maybe females are better at taking care of themselves in general. Now we're kind of doing some generalization right here a little bit. There are more males born, but females live longer because they aren't crazy. Okay. I'm assuming a female said that because it's in their genes. Okay. There's some men that live to be really long, right? Because men are born, females are smart and don't too dumb. So, yeah, I mean, if we go to like dumb things, right? So, typically, and we're just generalizing again, right? I'm not saying what they're, but men have a higher propensity to do more dangerous things, right? Also, you think about wars too, right? So, most commonly, men are the ones that go off to war, and females do not. So that's there. There's a lot of things. So females live long lives. Men have caught up with recent medication. Yeah, and there's different things that are actually prolonging the life and stuff like that. So I think if you're willing to take that medication and do those things, that's a good thing. Female take better care. Yep. So one thing that's placed is health is very important, right? And sometimes I would say in general that maybe males don't maybe not take care of themselves as well. There are more males born, but they don't live as long. Females maybe have inherited disease or made it. True, men are more risk takers than females. Okay, yep. All my grandpas aren't alive. I don't have grandma. Yeah. So that's the same thing with me. Like my grandma's lived longer than both my grandpas, right? Anyways. Biological difference also help explain women's higher longevity. Scientists believe that estrogen, women combats conditions such as heart disease by helping reduce circular levels. And yeah, I definitely, right? I mean, that's something that I like personally, I have like high cholesterol and I like try to do everything I can to get it. But, there's a lot of genetics that play into it. Yeah, there's a lot of different factors. But overall, what I wanted you to see is there's trends and things that you can get from looking at population pyramids, okay? So what you're going to do for your assignment, okay, is you're going to be going in here, and this is assignment number 3, and it has a direct place it's going to take you. So you're going to be looking at South America. Now, it's kind of interesting. So in different cultures, things are different a little bit. So overall, women live to be longer. But if you were to look at some places in Africa, and maybe we can even look at it, you'll find out that men live, Algeria might be, that men live about the same amount or longer than women in some African countries. And usually because of one, they have a lot of kids over there, right? Oh, look at this. This is kind of interesting. It'd be interesting to go Algeria, look in and see what happened these years, where there wasn't a lot of babies being born, or something happened, right? A natural disaster that killed off a lot of people of this age. Interesting. I was going to try to find one here. Maybe I thought I saw Ghana. There you go. Yeah, well, females are sorry. So one thing was healthcare, like female healthcare, and they had a lot of kids, and that kind of does some stuff. But as you can see here, you don't live to be very long in Ghana, right? If you get to be probably 65 to 69, you're doing good, or past 60. Right? That's not very old. I'd already be on my downhill now. So, anyways, it's interesting to kind of look at these populations. But going back to the assignment real quick, you're going to look at South America here. You're going to have to find the total population. So all you do is you just click this link. It will take you right to where you need to go to analyze the data. then you just find the different numbers that it asks you to find, and then also ask you just to kind of explain why things are, and you submit it. So, and that is your assignment. So if you have any questions, please ask them now. I'll stop the recording now, but ask away if you have any questions.